tried to get out, and the time was now.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting episode of Sitting Down with Standups. I am your co-host.
Were you practicing
I was,
that?
the hand motion. Yeah, I'm getting all interpretive dance on you now. I've been practicing that since last episode, of course, yes. As always, I am your co-host, Justin Sakarica. We have the Bean behind the scene, a.k.a. White Daryl, a.k.a. DeReal. DeReal Bean. That sounds awesome. DeReal Bean.
The realist.
The real Bean. Not the fake. He's the real Bean. As you know, he's doing all the tech work behind the scenes, making this stuff work. And as always, to my left, we have the very lovely Elena Gonzalez. Elena, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It was a very interesting week for me.
Yeah, I see. I know you went on a work trip, and I see you had time to practice your choreography.
I did. Yeah, my little waltzing. Yes, I was at the Farm Science Review in London, Ohio.
That sounds entirely made up.
That's what I thought too. I thought my work was tricking me. I thought they were going to send me away and lock me up somewhere.
We're just going to review you, Justin.
Yes,
it's for science.
And leave me in the middle of a cornfield. Because if you're a fan of corn or soybeans or just empty rolling fields.
Who isn't?
Yeah, exactly. It's not bananas, mind you. But, excuse me, yeah, it was middle of nowhere. So.
Okay, so what is the Farm Science Review? So
basically, it's where a bunch of farmers, shocker, they go to this big giant expo and they're selling farm equipment and like stuff for strapping down loads, stuff for tilling the fields.
So like
growing
booths everywhere.
Oh yeah.
It's like a big
it's like a big trade show
Gotcha.
for farmers, and my company deals with logistics, and some of that deals with farm stuff. And it was an experience to say the least. The food there was amazing.
Okay.
Because everything was baked, harvested, or slaughtered that morning. Mm-hmm. So the prime rib sandwiches, delicious.
Nice. Better than Buc-ee's?
Ooh, that's a good question. Now, see, Buc-ee's, they have like the barbecue sauce on there, which is great. These don't have any sauce. Okay. They don't need sauce, because again, the cow that morning gets to meet his maker, and then you have a delicious sandwich.
Right.
You know what, though? I probably gotta say Buc-ee's. I mean, come on. I'm going there in a few weeks either way, so,
Nice.
Which, by the way, if anybody wants anything from Buc-ee's, please let me know.
Get your orders in.
Yeah, get your orders in. I'm going there. Very interesting, though. Large population of Amish down there. Yeah.
That makes sense.
It does, and, I'm just gonna fucking say it. I saw an Amish midget and was very intrigued. Like, that is something that you would see on, like, an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Right.
I'm like, what the hell? Like, what, like, is that even allowed in Amish culture? Like,
and it sounds like either a very weird insult or a really bad sex move. Like, I don't know which way we're going with Amish midgets.
Exactly. And, like, everybody saw him and was like, oh, I want to take him home with me. And, like, everybody was all, like, so happy. My first thought was, okay, somebody tainted that gene pool. You right? Yeah. Because when the Amish go do their Rumspringa, when they're allowed to go out and experience life, one of those girls went out there and had a midget kink and was like, hey, I'm on Rumspringa. And 9 months later, Yoder Yeckenspiel is like...
Yoder Yeckenspiel, everyone. That
sounds like an Amish name, right? Yeah. But he was there and he had the beard and everything, and I was like, that man is killing it.
So I've never thought about this before, but when we're talking about racial stereotypes or gender stereotypes, you're very aware of how they can be hurtful.
Yes.
And we're not pushing for anything like that. I've never considered this, that even when someone is making fun of, in essence, a midget, is that the correct...
I have no idea.
I just realized in saying that, I don't know.
I've been told say it. I've been told don't say it.
Okay, apologies if I'm incorrect.
Brad Williams apparently says it's okay. So I will
go with it. The joy on someone's face, though, because there will be rage, there will be scrunchy face when there's certain racial stereotypes or gender stereotypes.
Yeah.
But anytime anybody's talking about a little person, such joy.
Yes, it's like, oh!
And that's almost, I don't, that's got to be hard to live up to.
It is. And what's funny is you mentioned that I actually used to have a very severe phobia of them. Honest to God, I don't know. Yeah. I've gotten over it, but I was
Oh, yes.
I have information. For those of you that want to be on the right side of history.
I do want to be on the right side of history.
People of short stature.
Short stature.
I am of short stature as well.
Or little person.
Little person.
So,
okay.
So no dwarf then?
What is the...
Dwarf was in there.
Okay,
too.
okay.
Like I saw dwarf as well.
Okay.
And because that's more medical, isn't it? Dwarfism is the medical term.
Yes.
Did it say what at what height?
Let me see. There's a whole FAQ.
Because I believe, I thought it was 4'9". Don't know why I'm thinking that.
That sounds right. Let's see.
I'm 5'3".
Yeah, I'm 5'8"-ish, 9-ish, I guess.
To the
I don't know.
Little People of America website. Dwarfism is a medical or genetic condition that usually results in an adult height of 4'10".
4'10". 4'10". Okay. That's actually
that
seems tall to me for a dwarf.
Yeah.
Yeah. This guy was well below 4'10".
Okay.
I can tell you that much right now. So he's probably pretty revered because he's much lower to the ground, which means he can pull up the turnips and the carrots easier. I'm sure.
Not very good at barn building.
No, not at all. I mean, maybe like a shed. They probably had him like a little pony going down the road.
Well, we're blowing out our entire Amish and midget.
Everything that we just built back up with no, we do want to be on the right side of history.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you can get down there. Maybe you could throw him and get him up on the...
Something tells me that the Amish are not going to watch this because they are prohibited from it.
That's a good point.
However, our dwarf fan base, it may be shrinking. Hey-o! Wow! I am just...
Oh, jeez.
Wow!
Yeah.
Wow.
Welcome to Hate Crime.
Right.
Yeah.
The views expressed on Sitting Down with Stand-Ups are not representative of the views of Elena Gonzalez.
Oh my God! I'm gonna go outside. And there's just gonna be an army of them waiting for me. You know, like fucking Lord of the Rings.
I just had this vision of you opening your door, and there's a basket of banana runts.
Oh, but that would yes. We know where you live. Like, oh shit, they're after me.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe you did the voice.
Oh yeah, okay. I had to do the voice. Oh wow. So yeah, again, these views are not expressed by Elena or Daryl. I'm the asshole here.
After Hugh Grant and that whole thing, did you hear that whole thing?
I don't recall.
They hired Hugh Grant to do...
Oh, the Oompa Loompa!
The Oompa Loompa. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and how Snow White doesn't have dwarfs anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that... Oh, wow.
Oh, okay, I'm watching that later. There's a YouTube video. The Amish have computers, and they're weird.
Oh shit! So,
watching that later.
All right. So besides having the army of dwarfs, I'm gonna have a bunch of Amish people. Like I'm gonna have horse and buggies out there now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I am
Hopefully it ups our subscriber count. That's all we care about.
Yeah, they are just gonna come and they are gonna just completely bowl me over. So
I'm glad you made it out alive.
Yeah, I did make it out alive.
Harrison Ford, please help us.
Yes. So speaking of bowling, you see over there, our guest today has quite the fancy bowler shirt he's wearing. And like I gotta be honest, man. Like I've been doing comedy for a long time. I never took any comedy classes or anything, but this guy really helped me out a lot early in my career. He gave me a lot of gigs early on, a lot of my first paid gigs.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, he helped me sit down and write and really hone my craft. Guy is super popular, okay? So if you book shows, he will always bring a crowd, and the guy always delivers. Like I said, he is one of my good friends and one of my mentors. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for our guest today, my good friend, the very funny Tom Massey. Tom, get on in here, my friend. Wearing that fancy bowler shirt there. So, how'd you do,
Keeping it classy with Tom Massey.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
That could be your own podcast. Classy with Massey.
Yes. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hello.
Great to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's good to see you here, man. Glad to finally
wore
get
the
you
old
on.
French cuff shirt like I wear on stage. I don't even bowl, so.
Oh, you don't
wear
bowl?
different shoes now. In fact, when I'm gonna probably burn the shirt when I get home.
Oh no, yeah.
I was back there listening. I love what you guys do. I've been watching a long time. I've been wanting to get on this show, but I thought when he was talking about the vegetables, I said, if you're a fan of he said corn.
Yes.
I swear, I thought, if I'm a fan of porn. And I'm like, nah, Justin, I don't think that's that kind of show. And then, with the whole, the midget munchkin, whole freaking Amish people.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
Get me on there. Let's talk.
Oh, yeah, no, see, we just go completely free form. We have no filters on here. Luckily, we have a tech guy that can, blur and edit and all that stuff.
I don't.
He's not going to.
Yeah.
But
Hey, how was that
He's-
show over
he's-
there with Justin? Great, till I got beat up in the parking lot by a bunch of midgets with long beards.
Yeah, exactly.
By a bunch of ponies. Good stuff.
Yeah,
No,
on
good
their
stuff.
Rumspringa.
I
But
love his energy.
yeah, well, no, shit, you've got a lot of energy, man. You're always very energetic,
I'm
man.
high-strung,
Yeah, I mean, what? Well, I wouldn't say high strung. You just got that good energy,
Well,
Is that
yeah, thank you.
is that one of the main things that made you want to get into comedy? Just having that, that pep, that fire in your belly.
I tell you, I was always proud. I was never class clown. Not that, I just was, obviously, if you do something for a living, you sell. You can't be the comedian that's on stage.
Yeah.
So, with the real blessing, my dear friend Kevin Zioli, rest in peace, a great comedian. And he always said that, he's like, well, that's what I call a business and, who you are on stage. And he always said, well, the fact that you're not, you got to bring yourself up there. But to have separate, that's a character and you can be a character. I don't try that. I have, I read it somewhere where they say that comedians are usually the youngest of a brood, of a lot of family, or usually have siblings. Yeah, the youngest, I heard. Sometimes it's the oldest, but you're fighting for that attention, I guess.
Yeah.
And being half Italian, and then your mom's got the Polish side, and they're talking about, are we going to serve lasagna for Christmas Eve? No, it's not fish. And having that both, you get to learn to laugh it off, because I think it's like anything in life.
Yeah.
You joke about it and laugh it off. But my brothers, to make them laugh was to be accepted, because they had their own thing. So when you get brothers and you want to fit in and like, hey, did you guys, what happened? And when they laugh, you get their attention. So I guess that's where it comes from. I mean,
Gotcha.
And that is such a difference, that what you were talking about with Kevin is the ability to be funny in that moment is something that you learn and that you're immersed in. But to then be a comedian where it's be funny on Friday at 7:00, it's such a different element, and being able to hone that is really great. How long have you been doing comedy?
15 years now.
Nice.
And I'm sure that comedian people out there, the story I feel so compelled always to tell. Just in a nutshell, it was a Bill Sharp was doing a class, and the girl, my living girl at the time, hope she's doing good, because I had to get her out of there. It was tough. Don't move them. If you're not married, don't move them anyway. But there's always a positive thing. And she said, take this class. And they sent the thing from Joey's Comedy Club back in Livonia.
Joey's. R.I.P.
Many comedians know the play. And I took this class. So anyway, that was 2009, April 18th, 2009. My mom saw me. It was a big graduation class, and she's all proud. You did it clean. I'm so happy, because I don't really make a habit of F this, F that. But, but anyway, I did the class, and when I got off that stage, and I gave her a hug, I felt so confident about it. I'm like, I'm going to buy you a house one day. Like, we all get that elated, you're going to do it. You're going to be something.
Yeah.
And I'm just too old to live in my car in New York City. So, but I'm blessed to say, well, I'm going to get up there and do. So anyway, Mom was real proud. And then that was April 18th, 2009. She just looked cold. She just kind of looked, I told my girlfriend, she looked kind of off. Something was up. Anyway, August 13th, we were at her funeral. So whatever it was, I used to get so, if it was like, if this was 6 years ago, like, hey, turn the camera off, I can't,
Yeah.
But it was one of those things to me. It was meant to be. I never, to make your mom laugh, we connected there.
Yeah.
So I made him laugh. My dad was funny, but, he was a big executive for a major pizza company, So he was, now he's serious at home. But
How many of there are you growing up?
well, I had 6 older brothers. Grew up with 5 older brothers, and then a sister, my little sister. So
Robin.
She's 1, and she's tough. Robin.
Oh yeah, I know Robin.
Yeah, Robin. She's a broker. Can I give her a plug on the business?
Oh yeah. Go
It's
ahead.
Robin Massey from North Shores Properties. Call for any. I can get a referral to that maybe. No, but Robin Massey. I mean, she's so strong and she's tough because, 6 older brothers.
Yeah.
But then if you add, like, with older siblings, you know how it was a thing in the 70s. Like when you have video games and you have video games in your basement.
Yeah.
Or you had a pinball machine in your basement, and it was just, so my brothers, my mom's like, all right, one friend. And my mom's theory was this, your kids, if you think your kids aren't going to, drink or maybe smoke weed under the bleachers.
Right.
And some parents like, my kid's your kid's just stoned out like anyone else. But my mom's attitude was like, do it here. So you not only grow up with, you don't have 5 older brothers. You asked the question. I mean, when I was 3 and 4 years in a 3rd grade, 2nd grade, my brothers, there was people that had been and still in my
Friends,
life.
right.
They are family. You know, that is
Oh, yeah,
close
yeah.
friends or family.
Yeah.
They've been in my house. People would just walk in. Hey, how you doing? They'd sit there with my mom at the kitchen table and talk to her because all the brothers would still be sleeping.
Yeah.
You know, you wake up,
Yep.
your friends are already there. You know, but you know, if you think about it, you know, 5 older brothers, 4. You probably have at least 15 older brothers.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yep.
there are people
Yeah.
that have been in my life. I don't know if I needed money in that, they'd really be there for me. You know, maybe this is a plea for them. Like, hey, if we were real good friends, could you just, you know, write a check?
Yeah.
But being silly with them all the time is just. Fun. My heart goes out to anybody that's an only child. You know,
Yeah.
Anybody?
No.
No, I have a sister.
Get here and start a whole depression thing. Like, let's go back and talk about the
Yeah.
midget Amish,
Yeah.
but we don't feel bad about it.
No, I do think about that now because there are like this generation and there are a lot more only kids because people are waiting until they're older to have
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
They're having less kids and there's less personal interaction. So the pinball game that's in your basement now is everybody on their own Xbox and they're not
Exactly.
talking to people
Yeah.
and seeing
Exactly.
people.
Yeah.
And it's such like I miss that connection that I had when I was growing up. It was me, I have a younger brother, but I had a whole bunch of cousins. So my grandma's house was central and we would do that and we're running in the neighborhood
Yeah,
and doing
yeah.
this and everybody knew everybody. And you would have that thing where you go to the grocery store and it's like, oh, you're Massey's boy. And you know, it's like
Yeah.
people, everybody kind of knows you. And
Yeah.
we don't really have that anymore.
Exactly,
yeah.
yeah. And one thing that does make me very happy, though, is like in my neighborhood right now, like all the little kids are always outside playing with each other and riding around. I feel terrible because I don't know any of their names and they know my name. And it's like, hi, Justin. I'm like, hey, sport. Like,
Yeah.
There's too many of you to know. But it gives me hope that at least there are some people in the younger generation who are still out there, like running around and, you know.
That's so nice. I drove by yesterday. He was like, "Get off my, get off my grass, you little bastard!" No,
Well, I was yelling at you.
No. Yeah, it was just because I was my little Amish buddy. He's like, "I'm not taking it."
Yeah.
No, you're right.
But yeah, no, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
It
though,
is
like-
old times, though.
It is old times.
I don't think we're the last of our generation, and like no video games. It is weird to see people on a phone like that. We
Yeah.
all do it. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
lost my phone not too long. It was in my car. I mean, I felt like
That
a piece of
panic?
my.
Yeah.
You start panicking because I don't know
Oh,
about
yeah.
you. Like, who knows if someone goes, "Hey, what's your girl's number? What's your brother's?" Can you? I don't know.
I don't know.
And
Yeah.
every day, even today, I'll go tonight when I get off this show. I'm gonna write down numbers, keep them in my wallet.
Yeah.
And who knows? If you're into trouble, you got one phone call, cops like, just lock me up, man, because I got nobody. I got my phone's gone.
Seriously,
Yeah.
my son is 6 years old, and my ex has a rhythmic phone number. So it's like it
Easy to
sounds
remember,
cute.
Yeah, yeah.
We have been
121, something like that.
yeah. We have been like my son. Like every other day, we're just like, okay, what's Dad's phone number? What's Dad's phone number?
Yeah.
Because of exactly that. Like nobody remembers phone numbers
Yeah,
anymore.
it's just like, it's Mom,
So let's
Mom.
get one in there in case something happens.
Hey, it'd be a cute idea, like call it a little kid's temp KTT, and they get a little the phone number. The only things on there, they look like they're branded. You know what I mean? Oh, and if something happens, like this is their number. Maybe it's on the bottom of their ankle or foot or something like that.
I will say,
By
I
the way,
will
I have
say
no
that
children.
the last time somebody suggested numbering people, did
Oh,
not go
yeah.
well. But
Yeah, and I say the phone number. Did I say the phone number starts 666?
Uh-huh,
you
yeah,
did.
you
It's
did.
Halloween. Is it Halloween time when you close?
yes.
Oh,
And
Yes,
yes,
all
yes,
right.
it'll be around Halloween.
Well,
Which,
this
by the
show
way,
went to hell in a handbag quick, didn't it?
if
I'm
you-
just talking about you, but I'm a little
Welcome
red.
in.
yeah, and
She's not just this red because it's camera lighting. She's just this red.
yeah. So just letting you know. Speaking of that, if anybody around Halloween does come to my door dressed as a certain German dictator, you will not be getting any candy. By the way, Just-
You know what? You're gonna have a bunch of little kids with beards like this.
yeah,
They're gonna be, "Hi, is this the Amish house?" You know what I
yeah.
mean?
They're gonna be infiltrating, and then I'm gonna get kicked in the nuts and punched in the nuts a million times.
An Amish midget with the beard. I thought about that with the beard, and then when you said porn, and think about it, with the long beard, and you're that short, and then.
Oh,
Would
I
you need a woman? You walk around and get aroused.
There-
This show has just gone off the rails.
I know,
I'm
it's not,
sorry,
actually,
you know what I
it's-
mean? With the
Some
beard and the-
high grass.
Anyway,
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
yeah, did
yeah.
you get to church today?
I didn't.
Oh,
Daryl was at church
boy.
today. Yeah, he's the only one who's gonna be saved. Yeah,
And Daryl and I are doing a show together, too.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Oh yeah. You
Guy
and
behind
Daryl.
the camera, we're doing
Oh
a
yeah.
show for you.
Daryl's a very funny guy, man.
yeah.
I'm looking forward
He
to
is,
it. So
he is.
Yeah,
That's why he cannot hold the camera. Last time we had, like, he's laughing. So like, all right, keep it in place, and he's over there holding his gut right now.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
your show. You put on some really good shows.
I try, man. I try.
I like the bearded
lamb.
Bearded lamb. The
Yeah.
whole Amish beard thing has got
Yeah.
me up there.
Yeah,
I go,
yeah,
am I
yeah,
saying
yeah.
it right, or is this another pun?
Yeah, no,
The bearded lamb is
and
awesome.
the rusted crow.
I know that one, and I've
yeah.
always done the bearded lamb when it's been snowy out. It seems to
Yeah.
have been that, but that's a great room. I mean,
It is a great
and
room.
this guy right here, I mean, for comedians, that he's just like, hey, I like your energy, I like your, and just to get up there, and he just gives so many people an opportunity. So
I
it was
try,
nice what
man.
you said about me, because I remember that coming up, and it's almost like, I don't know, I feel that there's a team, and I'm just gonna say this off this subject. To me, it's like I always thought, like, comedians want an hour and a half of a strong show.
Yeah.
If anybody wanted me to MC for, it doesn't matter if I've been doing 15 years and you've been doing a year. To me, we are a team. We are a
Yes.
team.
Yes.
And there's so much separation sometimes with the comedy that I get it. Look, some people don't like you because you're pretty. Some people don't like you because you're doing this and you're fired up.
Yeah.
And I never understood that. And maybe that's that whole big family thing again. Because you weren't, you had to share. You ever had anybody that's real selfish, by the way?
Yes.
Like,
Oh my
they're
God,
not sharing their
yes.
donuts. And I go, and
Yeah.
I say that, and I go, let me guess, only child? Only
Yeah,
child?
yeah.
Because I'll only tolerate that so long, because my mom was not allowed to do that. So with comedy, I have that attitude of like, hey, you're up on that stage. Most people in that audience are like, I'd never do that. Mm-hmm. My dad always made it sound like he was proud, because he's like, Tommy, you're doing the #1 fear in the world of talking in front of people.
Yeah.
And I look at it as just you're giving joy. You're making
Yes,
people laugh.
yeah, and again,
But,
and like
but
you said,
to me,
it's
that's
a
all
team.
the team.
Yes,
And
yeah.
I just put it this way. This is how my attitude is. Like, let's say, like Kiss, 70 years, they're finally,
Yeah.
the Kiss rock band, they're finally going to wrap it up. But
No, they're
we'll
not.
see. Hey, Kiss!
They'll keep going till
Yeah.
Gene
I wanna
passes
rock
out
and
on the
roll!
stage. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see it.
Yeah.
But when they had, like, opened up, like, let's say Joe Louis or Coba Hall, they brought other groups that they didn't get Van Halen on there to open up for them and go, man, I hope they're not as good as us. It's not about that.
Right.
They wanted to rock that roof for that time of the whole show. That's how I feel about comedy, and I know that you have that attitude towards shows,
Yes.
which is what makes you successful. These people want to keep having you book their venue.
Yes.
Because you're like, hey, there are no egos here. I mean, I don't know. I just love everybody. I just want to laugh and let me make the crowd laugh, and I'll see it. But there's so many people with the, and we're all guilty of that, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah.
we're on the same team, and if people would do that, like the union community of comedy is what's great.
And I
It
don't.
is.
It would take me an hour
Yeah.
to name good comedians that we've worked with.
Oh my God,
in
yes.
years. And then there's some people out there, it's like, listen, just do your thing, man. Stop hating. No,
Yeah.
stop hating. I don't know.
And I don't want this to sound kind of teacher-ish, but it's so interesting, that exact mentality, when you look at kind of more of the showcase shows, like not so much the MC feature
Right, which you do.
headliner,
Yeah.
but more the showcase shows.
Yeah.
You can really tell someone who's been doing it a lot longer, because they are not only able to read the room, but they get a better sense of the other comics, and then they might change their energy to fill in what is missing.
Yes. Yeah.
Instead of just like, nope, this is my 15 minutes that I'm coming to do, take it or leave it.
Exactly.
You get that better gauge.
Again, and it goes again with the whole teamwork thing, and it's also with like when you book a show, it's more like building a show.
Yes.
Because you want everybody to complement each other. You know, a perfect example that I always give, there was a guy, Joey Dudurian. I don't know if you know Joey Dudurian. He doesn't do comedy anymore, but his style and jokes were so similar to Robert Schneider, who's now in DC. Like, I could never have them on a show together because
Right.
they're essentially the same person, and I want everybody to stand out.
Right.
And, it's like the show that you're going to be on with Daryl and Reed Ledbetter. You guys are all so distinctive where it's like you're all going to be remembered for your own set and not, like, it's not going to blend together,
And bringing up Ree is actually, in my experience, that was one that I really learned from is, and you're going to get a chance to meet her, but Ree and I, similar in age, and she was I met her when she was only about a year in, and we were on the same show, and I had the chunk that I was still like this is what I came to do today, because I'm playing with this and I'm playing with that. And then she gets up and she's talking about the same stuff, like chunk.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to do this, even though this is what I want to work on.
Yeah.
And when we got booked on another show together, I talked to her about it, and I was like, this is what you're going to run into. And it was so perfect, because we were both talking about, like, online dating back when you had to call the internet. Like, it was a very similar thing. And you're going to run into that.
Right.
And you can repeat. I could have taken it from an approach that is, and Ree, I love you. I hope that you know that this is coming from a hypothetical place. But I could have looked at it and been like, oh no, I'm going to fucking smoke this. Like, this is how you do an AOL dick joke. Like, I could have come at it from that approach, but it's like, no, they just heard all of this stuff. They don't need to hear it again.
Yeah, like, man, like, I found that too, like, when people, the whole, like, stealing a joke. Now, people go, Tom, do you watch a lot of comedians on TV? I'll be honest with you, I don't necessarily, I mean, of course, the last Chris Rock special, all that with Will Smith thing, but I do watch them. But what's funny is, like, I remember a comedian way back, and I didn't realize it because I don't watch the Tonight Show back in the day and that, but I do like the styles, like when Johnny Carson used to come out. When something bombs out, come back with that, because it can make you uncomfortable quick.
Yep.
I'm blessed to say I have not experienced that a lot, God bless. But there are times when that joke, and just like, damn, I thought that was going to hit. But the whole thing, as far as when someone goes, they stole that joke, you stole that joke. And I got to tell you, I feel that if you've thought about it, it's been thought of before.
Yep.
Yes.
I have done a joke. I used to do this joke, and then this veteran comedian, very good friend, we went on the road quite a bit together, and I never realized, and he did a joke. He went up before me. I was on to have him open up, and this must have been 10 years ago. And he did a joke that was so similar. It was almost the same. And I go, man, I thought I created that. Remember, it was about that license when you go, you know, I got an idea where you don't get DUIs. When you go in to get your picture license, be completely annihilated first, you know? When the cop looks at it, he's like, hey, you've been drinking? You know, all right, yeah, you can go. And that was a joke for so long. I remember opening up with that quite a bit. As we all know, you go, all right, it's getting stale. It's been a lot of years, and I want to change it. And then yet they're like, no, they've never heard it before.
Yes.
But anyway, what I'm saying is you have your different take on that.
Yeah.
How many after that whole big Will Smith thing that everybody, how many people, mine was, I know everybody had a joke on it.
Yeah.
Mine was, I was talking, and it wasn't even, it didn't matter white or black. A guy got up in the audience and go, oh, wait, what are you, I thought he was come up here. I thought he was having a Will Smith flashback.
Yeah.
Right.
It's always a joke, but what I'm saying is when something's popular, everyone's going to get creative in writing. Do you, if there's a joke similar, much similar, and they did it first and it's part of your repertoire, do you change it when you get up there?
Ooh, it's based on personal experience. So it's kind of hard for someone, you know, like I dated the one girl who owns all the Jimmy Johns in Michigan. Far as I know, she hasn't dated any other comedians.
Okay, so that's unique.
But
like, he's the only one with like mean midgets on his
But-
doorstep.
Yeah,
No, I get what you're saying.
But to be fair, if we were on a similar lineup and I dated a guy who owned a Subway,
that's very true.
like, am I gonna address that and be like, well, Justin was talking about Jimmy John's, but I'm fucking the footlong. Like, how am I gonna? Am I gonna take it, or am I gonna
take it? There's a joke for you. Man, that's hot. I'm excited.
Boom.
All right. X-rated.
or
Is this a midnight hour?
That's why we cover
I
the
was going to get
windows.
Subway for lunch, but I will not be able to. Thank you, and I will not be able to eat one without being aroused from now. Give me the foot long, and I got to call that girl. All right, go ahead.
But it's a choice because I can approach it and reference what you said and try to build off of it.
Yeah.
Or I can just say, you know what, fuck it, I'm not going to do the Subway joke.
Yeah. And, like, so, for example, I have a joke about getting my prostate checked, and shocker, it wasn't the real doctor, and Keith Lennart has the same one. So, typically, when Keith and I are on a show together, it's like, are you telling your prostate joke? Am I telling it? Because, I mean, it's almost the same joke, and, you know, you kind of come to an understanding, and there was one time he's like, oh, no, you go ahead and tell it I did. And then he went and told this, too. And I'm like, oh, well, apparently there was miscommunication there.
Do you think it's time to ask him what that joke is? Do we have time for that?
No, I mean, everybody's
like, come and see it. But
yeah, see it right
No.
there. Yeah, see my prostate, yeah.
well, but that's one of those popular things. I used to have one as well. And I've seen it done so many times that I'm like, it's like the comfort, bend over and get, geez, can we have a drink first and all that stuff? Because they're, I get it. You're right. And then you shy away from that. You know what I mean? But,
there's really. I'm trying to remember who was talking about this. I think it was Mike Green actually. But really, when you boil it down, and I only say that because I don't want to steal somebody's thing. But when you boil it down, there's only two jokes. There's a common topic that you have an interesting take on.
Yeah.
Or a unique topic that no one else has thought of.
Exactly.
And this pool is about this big.
Yeah.
And and I appreciate your kind words about as far as helping write. I just get excited about
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just knowing you a short time, you're that. He's like, hey, what's working for you? What's good? Because we're all on the team.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is, which I think is so important in me when they go, veteran comedians. I mean, guys that have been doing it 30 years and that. There's so many out there, but their advice, everybody's little piece of advice. I've been in the hallway back at Joey's and someone goes, stick to the script, or little things they say.
Yeah.
But like, again, rest in peace. But our friend Kevin Zioli, he said that. He goes, you know what? He goes, be you. The more you and it took me, 15 years of comedy. I only started doing this, I think, in the last 3 to 4 years. Who are you? What's funny about you? Hey, I got these brothers. Hey, I dated this girl. It's a real story of like, hey, my last name is originally Mazziotti. My father's Bob Mazziotti. We're from Paterson, New Jersey. Because how many years have people go, hey, you remind me of Joe Pesci? I don't see it. But when I see my brothers talk, they got that Jersey kind of like, hey, this guy right here. And especially when they're mad. So I tell people, I go, I kind of imitate my older brother when he's serious, and that's what's funny. But you're telling who you are. Tell your story. So for the first 2 minutes, 3 minutes, you're introducing, you. Hey, I'm this, and I go to college, or I get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's when, to me, I started to find that flow, because you're not remembering and bouncing all over. It's like, how could you be wrong? You're the guy that dated the subway. You're the one that has a thing for a football. That's hot. I can't get it out of my head. But anyway, and it's the realism of comedy, and it's the art form, I think. Is what's nice, because you're being you.
I think that is so well
telling
said.
stories, and maybe it's said before, but in different ways. But that's, to me, the blessing of it. The comedians that get to express who you are. When you paint a picture, it's all in the painter's head.
Yeah.
And like I do this joke about when you're creating the joke and you're letting their mind think. Like, have you guys seen people? To me, and again, people that have done the course. Bill Bouchard has done a course way back, but it's about laughs per minute. Have you ever had someone tell this story, right? And it just drives you nuts when they're like, it could be over dinner. And they're like, hey, Justin. I go, man, I had the greatest time. I was with my friend on Tuesday. Or was it Wednesday? It's like, listen, whatever day it was has nothing to do with the point I'm telling you. And that's what I learned about comedy. When you're up on stage, it's kind of like editing. You know what I mean? It's like, don't need that.
Yeah.
When you find movies and deleted scenes, because they go, okay, what's going to tell the story the best?
Yeah.
And that's what I love about the comedy writing.
Yes.
It's as exciting as it is to perform it. Like, we've all had that.
Yeah.
You wrote that.
Oh, yeah.
And you would go up and create it and go, these people laughed because I creatively wrote that. And that's to me the joy of it.
And it feels good.
The uniqueness of your story.
Yes, and then when it hits and it resonates with people, that's a great feeling.
Yeah.
And one thing that I do gotta say, I feel so bad for everybody out there. When Bob Barker died, who thought they had the original joke, like, he was close.
To 100. Yeah.
Everybody was like, what
was the joke, though? I mean, I haven't heard no Bob Barker jokes.
Really?
I know, I really haven't. But go ahead with it.
So,
it's already nice because he admitted, he goes, I didn't write it, but this is funny shit.
So, like, literally, I think everybody on planet Earth had the same idea, and they're like, oh, this is so creative. They were like, he got us close to 100 without going over. Because he died at 99.
Because the number.
And everybody thought they were right. And I saw like 50 people on Facebook posting it, and I'm like, I swear to God, if anybody tells it on stage, you're done.
You swore you wrote it, and then it's been done.
Yeah. Because it's probably the easiest joke that has ever been written.
Right.
It's so interesting to hear you talk about writing, though, and I fully agree that when you're starting stand-up, what I've seen with a lot of new comics is they get so tied to those words.
Yep.
And so it's like, okay, I wrote this sentence. I need to remember exactly how I wrote this sentence. But if you are who you are, you're not going to forget how you feel about this, and it's going to come out of you. And that's how I tend to speak and write is I talk a lot, and then over time I manage to get it down. So
tune it.
yep. So I did an exercise once where I we have a guest coming on who will get into this much more about storytelling and just how different but similar it is. I was telling this story. It was roughly about a 15-minute story. It was in a very artistic kind of set, like art galleries and all that kind of stuff. Now, when I do that on stage, it's about 6.5 minutes. And it's exactly that. Yeah. It's like, I can paint this picture and I can bring the emotions in, but when I'm just trying to get to the punchline, I can take you on the same adventure in half the time.
Exactly. And like when I was in my early comedy career, I remember, and that's one of the things you told me. You said, cut the fat, trim it down. You tell a joke and you're taking so long to get to the point, you see people in the audience start checking their phone and turning to their friend. You're like, okay, no, I've got to do something now to keep their attention.
Right.
And again, you trim the fat, last per minute. It makes you a much more efficient artist or comedian in that sense, And
what's nice is when you get together with other comedians, like, there are no rules to it. Like, I'm in a hot rod scene, so I can know hot rod. But to me, it's like when you don't go up and go, hey, you really messed that car because you put that pin straight. It's yours. Yes. It's your time on stage. I look at it like this. As a fighter, a boxer maybe. You're training and you have all the people in the corner and everybody's in the ring and telling you and sparring partners. But when it's ding ding and it's time to get on that stage, you are by yourself.
Yes.
There ain't nobody saving you. And on that, let me ask your guys' opinion on this. I have once in a while, like I've had, when a headliner, if I'm featuring, and like I said, I'm proud to just do comedy. I'll MC, I'll feature.
Yeah.
I'm not like, I'm a headliner. I've seen guys that go, I'm headlining 20 years. I'm not featuring for anybody. That's it. That's you're in your journey.
Yeah.
But for me to not use that audience, I've been doing that from day one because I do that every day.
Yep.
I'm in sales, obviously. I sell construction. So, but you're just being you. And have you ever had anybody, the comedian, before you go, don't talk to the audience? And you know who was that way actually? Gallagher.
Really?
With the watermelon guy.
Really?
That's a whole different segment. Hopefully you'll have me back sometime. But he was not a friendly person. Rest in peace.
That's what I've heard.
But he was, and so many people said that. But basically, he said, "Well, in my contract, nobody's supposed to open up for me." And we played it. It was in Novi, and I picked him up, and he was just got my back seat like I'm the chauffeur, and I'm trying to. And I'm like, so people call you Gallagher all the time. Your name's Leo. I can't go by Leo. My brother uses Leo. They sued me for it, and they're all mean, and I'm like, this is not going good.
Yeah.
And then I said, I really admired you when I was growing up. I saw you on HBO. I remember when you came out dressed as a fireman, and you were spraying the audience. And he stopped, and he just looked at me, and I don't know if he's met. He goes, I never did that. And I'm like, I still have the ticket. You know what I mean? But what it was is that he was like, well, that's the thing. And I got mad, actually. I told the guy that was booking, I go, listen, I don't care who you are, where you're from. I've been nothing but nice.
Yeah.
And that Italian side came out, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going on that stage. I don't give a shit what you say. Because he was just basically saying, I told people to come there, and I was so proud. And, hey, Gallagher.
Yeah.
And he said, let's say you go out in that audience and you talk about the weather. And then I have a joke about the weather. And from coming from a veteran, a gentleman that has been comedy 30 years, known for a thing, he was on TV and all the cable. But to say that you're worried about, I might talk to the audience about something you might. So I talked about the subway girl. Yeah. And you talked about the guy with the footlong. It's still a subway thing.
Yep.
It's still arousing. I can't even lie. But anyway, I'm just saying that are there rules to comedy? One rule and the only one rule. I always said, when they're flashing that light, you wrap it up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Comedy Castle has that light, and it says, if it blinks, that means
oh my God.
Now.
Yeah.
That means, and I remember one time at Joey's, a comedian was just, he had the audience going, and it's like, get off your ego. We are a team. And I think Bill was running that, it was an open mic night. And he just clicked all the lights off, like that scene in the Blues Brothers. That ain't no Hank Williams song. He named all them lights, and he looked at all the comedians that were trying to do that stage time, and he goes, "You guys do that, and you're not coming back here for a year." And it was just so embarrassing to the guy because you just took all that excitement and go, "Hey, I did the wrong thing in front of all my peers."
Yep.
But what other rules are there? If you want to talk about this, and that guy talks about this. I don't know. No one's really giving a class of ethics in business of comedy. But again, my friend Kevin Ziola would always say, hey, that's why they call it a business. There are business parts of the comedy.
Yeah.
And that's where I think I struggle with. Because it's like, we've all seen it. I don't care who's watching this. We've all seen it. It's like, they're headlining that? I think they just started in comedy 4 years. And is it because you're not getting out there? Because you're not getting to know them? I'm blessed to have a career where your job and you get... All of us would love to do comedy full time. But again, it's kind of like you can't help to... You don't want to judge yourself by comparing anything to what the other person's doing. I'm more that way with the venues than I am the comedy writing. You know what I mean? It's like your material is you.
Yeah.
It's going to be you. You're up on your own. No one's saving you.
Exactly.
And there has to be, to do that in general, like you said, your dad was saying it's the number one fear. There is a bit more of an ego and a bit more potentially narcissistic, but like you have to think that you are strong enough and valid enough to even grab that microphone and not piss your pants. Like, so you're starting from a place of a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
it's being your own governor and not letting that little bit turn into
It's like controlling your fear. Like you maybe a cheerleader. You're pretty. You were a cheerleader. Or sports, right?
Yeah.
But I tell people all the time, I go, listen, I don't care if, I'm sure Gallagher, whoever, but I don't care how many years you've been doing it. I tell people, did you play sports in school? That pre-game jitter, it don't go away.
And
it ain't never going to go away. And they say, if it does go away, that's when you worry. So you're almost afraid to be overconfident.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then when you're there, like I've learned this, people are in their pathway. If you're not coming into a show before you're getting on stage for 40 minutes and people are like, well, I don't think, Tom wasn't friendly. Boy, that Justin sure was kind of cocky compared to when we were doing his podcast. It's like, listen, I'm in my zone.
Yeah.
You didn't go up to Tom Brady before a game and go, hey man, what kind of pizza do you like?
Yeah.
It's you're in your game mode.
Exactly. Yeah. You get in the zone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A zone.
That is
focus.
that is so fascinating. What is do you have a routine pre-show?
You mean what I do before? Actually, it's
like,
funny because, we all look at our notes.
Yeah.
And I don't care who you are. To me, you owe that to the craft. Now, I'll tempt that sometimes. I go, well, I just did 3 shows in the last month, and I think I'm just going to wing it. And there's times where I'm like, I'm out there, and we've all done that. You're looking at someone, and you're... Again, I'm blessed to have that. I'm blessed to have that audience thing.
Yes.
When a joke sometimes don't work, I'll say, I don't know about you, but I'm proud of that joke. You're coming out of it. Everyone has that thing. But there are times when you're like up there and you're like, I should have studied it and I should have looked it over because you owe that. But I do this joke about being half Italian. Again, my last name is originally Mazziotti. So, my dad, when he was in 11th grade, my grandfather signing checks for GM, so changed it to Americanized. But my my mental, when I'm just going up, if anybody sees me doing this, I'm like, Jindan. It's a joke. It's part of one of my jokes. But it's representing, I feel, the presence of my father and being successful in that.
So
my mom believed in you. So I'm kind of personally having some thoughts.
Yeah.
It's not as much my material, but I will read that. But I'm not one, like they're going to announce me in 2 minutes. I'm going to... You look over it, a little bit.
Yeah.
But before that, my ritual is something personal. Perhaps you're thinking of your child. You might be thinking of, the next podcast is going to be because you're successful at doing shows. Me, it is that one. When it's like, and it's the only joke. It's about pronouncing it correctly.
Yeah.
Jindan, which is with anyone Italian, it means 100 years of wealth.
Okay.
It's a toast, 100 years. So I'm always Jindan.
yeah.
Everybody's like,
Yeah.
Tom's ready to go on.
Oh, yeah, no,
'Cause
I've
to
seen
me,
you
it's
before
that my
backstage.
dad being Italian. Yeah, Jindan. And then the joke is, I messed the Italian word up. I went to an Italian wedding. I got kicked out because I was going to the bridesmaids. I'm like, hey, genitalia. But that word is the thing about my dad and Italian. So yes, I guess it's a ritual.
Yeah.
I don't wear the same boxer shorts for 6 years.
No,
Yeah,
but
like,
something like that,
superstition.
right?
Yeah.
You don't wear a bra on stage. I went there. I'm so sorry. It's the Amish porn. It's still on my mind.
Yeah.
Not wearing one now. So,
All right. Let's wrap
No,
this
but it
up and
is-
wrap those up.
but it is like a thing. I am much more physical. Like I also don't like to talk to people right before I'm going up. Like I'll walk in the room and be nice to people, smile. But yeah, I'm not chit chatty.
Yeah.
And I am very much, I've got to be moving. I usually put headphones in. I'm usually not listening to a set, but I'm not listening to like pump jock jams or anything,
like
but
quiet with that. That's
but
cool.
I'm just like getting out of it, and it's a lot of movement. I look like a crazy person.
And I like, because I do a lot of show hosting, like, usually what I'll do is, on all my shows, about 5 minutes before, I'll just make an announcement to the crowd saying, hey, the show's going to begin in about 5 minutes. Please don't heckle, you're here to have a good time, yada, yada, yada. After that, I usually run to the bathroom, I take one last piss.
We always got to do that.
You gotta always got to do it.
Hey,
and then,
man,
like,
you're not ready. How do you know? You didn't piss.
Exactly. Then, like, I'll wash my face, kind of like, okay, like, take a few deep breaths.
Sure.
I'll go back into the room, take one last check. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because I'm getting ready to go. And then, and I mean, it's crazy because sometimes I haven't done that.
That's right.
And then I go on stage and I'm like, I really should have gone to the bathroom. And I'm like, then, like, you start tensing up a little bit, and the crowd can see, like, oh, he's probably got to take a piss. Like, and then they can tell you, like, he didn't do his ritual.
You should go up with pants with just to stand there and go, listen, I'm just going to nip it, all right? But that's funny. That's
But
pretty funny.
everybody does that. They've all got their rituals. Now, one thing I was going to ask you, because you mentioned that you've worked with Gallagher. I know that you also worked with Dustin Diamond as well at one point.
Yeah, he was a little out there.
And
I asked him, I goes, you want me to do anything about the head, Saved by the Bell? No, I got something for that. And he went up, and it was fun. It was fun,
you've also worked with Darren McCarty, correct?
Darren McCarty, yeah.
Yep.
He goes up and he tells his story, and we've done some shows with fundraisers for him. It's cool too because when he unwinds, I hope you don't see this because I think the guy can still fight too. Pretty good. That show go.
If you want to be on, Darren, I've messaged him a few times before, and he keeps telling me, email me. I've emailed you, Darren.
You know what? I'll call him. I'll call him. Not that I have these connections with these Red Wings. I can't game.
Yeah.
But what he does is he'll be behind stage and he'll be doing the skating. When you lay on your back, he's pulling the leg over there and he's stretching like he's ready to get on the ice.
I love that.
It's pretty, like, hey, don't talk to me stretching, But,
yeah.
That Darren McCarty is a lot of fun. He's a very cool guy. But it's always fun when you see these veterans and then you feel like, well, you still did your thing. It doesn't matter who they are. It is in your lane. Again, there's more than one big quarterback. And there's more than one great player on a team.
Yeah.
And that's how I try to, try to flow with it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, now who are some local comedians that you've not worked with before? Like, actually, let me ask first, who are some of your favorite local comedians to work with?
Ooh, there's I tell you, Cam Rowe.
Oh, Cam Rowe's great.
He's a great guy. And it goes with, again, just personality-wise, plus, what their act is.
Yeah.
Kevin Zioli and I got on the road quite a bit.
Yeah.
Justin Sullivan is a very cool guy, and he's like me. We're close to the same age. Where he said, he goes, there's a point where you just realize, am I doing comedy for a living? And, I would, and I could, and that just kind of, it's part of the journey. And if that were to happen, if the right person sees or they book you, but a lot of them guys have just been, so helpful. Billy Ray Bauer had been around a long time, and these guys are just, when they're just damn well kind and nice to you and supportive of what you're doing. Norm Stoltz, just terrific.
Oh, Norm is fantastic.
And when I first did it was 13 years ago. I mean, when I started 2009. So within the first 2 years, you're just going to open mindset.
Yeah.
But when you get off of when you're new, first job I did, first show, we went to North Branch, and he was the headliner. And when he's like, wow, that's a strong set. That's just wow, because
you feel that.
You have been around a long time.
Yeah.
He's one of them great ones, but there's just many of them that are just have just been so, or just getting on the road with someone, even if you're co-headlining. Like I like Billy Reno is one of them guys. Like, hey, let's co-headline it. They had the Lighten Up comedy tour.
Yeah.
Ron
Love
Rigby
those guys.
and I were close to the same age, and Steve Hansen, and actually those guys are going to do a show with me in Taylor November 4th.
Oh, nice.
I'm doing Flushing. Actually, I'm just helping to book that show because I'm being in Flushing for that show. Looking for actually maybe a good feature for that, so people are going to call.
Yeah.
It airs after, like, sorry, that gig's over. But just so many. And I as long as there's some that I've been booked and they're not real friendly and you don't talk and you're not, hey, hi, maybe you're in your zone, maybe you don't. It took a long time for me to go, geez, it really, you want to be liked. I think we're comedians because I want to be loved.
Yes.
But you learn, you get this far in life because, you don't really care if they don't like you. hey, I didn't do anything to you, I'll just stay out of your way.
Yeah.
But I have said this, I think this is important though, as far as what we're talking about. To me, the more successful or comfortable comedy and my sales, as I said, I sell construction for a major company. I don't know if I should mention it because they're going to go, hey, fire this guy Monday.
Hey, my job has not fired me yet. So
but Italy American Construction is just their family. They've been 70 years in the business. So the more you get comfortable with them, the more you're with stage.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's like obviously you're two different people. You know, you don't go to someone's house and you're going to sell them a $60,000 edition or something, and you're like, hey, you're going to buy this or what? Because I'm wasting a lot of time over here. You know, you're the stage guy, but yet there's a comfort in that, facing the fear, doing the process, getting the bits. You know what I mean? But,
and I also think there's a little bit of it. You know, kind of doing the math on. You said you've been doing it about 15 years. I started I was in my late 30s, and I think that my approach. Because when I got on stage, I was already not afraid of a microphone. I was already not afraid of people. If I would have been doing that at 18, I know that would look entirely different.
Oh my God, yeah. We were all different people back then.
Right.
Very different people.
And I think the same is true for comedy. You watch comedians grow that started in their late teens and early 20s. When they get to be 30, 40, and they've got 20 years under their belt, they're also now an adult, and they're looking at it differently.
And they have more to talk about. And they more to talk about than getting stoned, you know, masturbation and drinking booze.
Exactly.
And
Typical
there is
Saturday night for
funny.
me.
There is funny, and there's funny in that. And there's some things, innuendos, I do that. But yes, life's
So
experience. I
starting
think
off,
the older comedians, you notice when you do a show when we connect, and I'm not saying anybody over 40, and there's 50 plus comedians that you connect with, but you, I mean, you're my nephew's age, and you're, you know, it doesn't matter the age frame, but yes, I feel that as well. It's like your life's experiences are what's becoming funny.
Yep. We had a long talk with Ron about that when he was on. Like, just when you started and you're already more of a person. Like, it's not even, it's not about maturity or responsibility or married or not married or kids or whatever, but you're more formed as a person.
Yes, you're more complete, so to speak. Yeah, and I mean, I don't even think I tell any of the same jokes I tell, like, when I first started, you know, like, years ago, like, you know, like Joey's, because I remember my first set. Yeah, I don't think I tell any of those same jokes anymore.
Now, another thing that one of the trainer guys told me, you know, when I took the class, but, you know, Bill had mentioned, he goes, you're getting, how many comedians say, you know, they gotta hate it, because I'm tired of saying it. And if you do that, and I'm not even comparing comedy to the great musicals, but Elvis, and not too long ago I was watching Elvis, and he goes, well, you know, this is a new crowd, and they've never seen us, so we got to go out there like it's the first time. And it is inspiring, because that is what it is. In that audience, and I used to say this in a venue recently, I said that, he goes, Tom, you don't need to do that, because you're like, who has not seen me before? Oh, good. Maybe some of the old shit might work. Or I would say it, and then it's like, hey, act like this is fresh, new. I'm your comedian. Doesn't matter if I've said it before or not. But when a joke gets stale, how about this? Have you done a great joke? You've been around doing long enough. It used to fly, and it was great. And then maybe once or twice it didn't get as much of the punch, and then you retired it for a while. And I've brought 2 jokes back that are now, it's almost like they're so fresh and new. So you recycle them.
It's like the
sure.
McRib. Terrible reference.
McRib.
It's like the fucking McRib, right?
McRib.
Yeah, it's
That's
like
funny.
If it's
That's
at
good. You're exactly right.
Like you,
but if it was out all the time, it would probably stop selling.
Exactly.
It would be, you know, you would get low on that.
And part of that, though, too, is not just audiences and whether or not they've heard it, but it's the subconscious things that you're not even realizing that you're doing it when you're doing it. Like, if you say it normally, like boop, boop, and then you kind of get sick of it and it's more like meh, meh, then it's not going to hit. And you don't even catch it.
Or when if you've maybe not offended anybody, because comedy's, you know, like I look at it like the one with Eddie Murphy, the Nutty Professor. If everyone's supposed to have a good time. To pick on someone and just drill them into the ground, that's not what it is. I will say that, I have to say this for comedians we're talking about. To me, I don't care who, and watch now, if anybody sees this, they'll probably do it every time when they introduce me, which I don't care now, I've learned to. But to me, we are, again, that same team. When a comedian takes that microphone and he's introduced and he puts down the comedian that was just up there.
Oh,
I think that is one of those old school weasel only children kind of.
Yeah.
You should be building. Hey man, Justin, awesome. Or hey, we're all on the same team.
Yeah.
You don't get Gene Simmons going up there and go, boy, I'll tell you, Eddie Van Halen really don't get that. He doesn't say anything negative.
Yes.
And that's one thing that has floored me to this day.
Yes, because first impressions mean so much.
Yeah, I had someone one time, obviously me being high strung, and I won't even ever mention a name, but it was when I got started, and you're a little more sensitive to stuff. He went up on that stage, Tom had to go backstage and do more cocaine, and I've never touched any of that drug. I was fuming. Instead of letting it go, I'm pacing back and forth. Can't wait for him to get off stage. And it probably gets you back because you want to be nice with everybody. But I was in his face because that's an old school thing.
Yeah.
And being old school, it's like get your ego aside. But I was so, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Why would I put Justin down? He was just up here. And I never understood that. To me, it's a creative balance.
Yes.
One comedian said, you know what would be great? Have a support group for comedians, because you know what I mean. Just what you're going through, like this, is very therapeutic.
Yeah.
I'll
it is.
go home and write 4 jokes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
And an Amish midget's going to be a part of it.
a small part of it.
Nice.
See, a
Small
very
part of
small
it.
part of it. Yeah,
I even got the camera guy.
I really hope that because Daryl mentioned that they have weird computers, and this is going to be the. Can you imagine my tombstone
No.
taken out by an Amish dwarf? I mean, like.
Well, it is all a part of the fun, and there's like nobody wants to be pinpointed. But when you go to a comedy show, my point was about that is retiring a joke. I used to do a joke on the Tourette's thing.
Okay.
Dating a woman with Tourette's, I says, because therefore, no matter how lousy you might be in bed, she still sounded like she was getting off. Shit. And then, you know what? And I love that joke. But then it was a gentleman that came, it was at Joey's, and they're drinking. That late show, you got a bouncer out there. It was like 11 o'clock at night, and it's end at midnight. And he was drinking, he was in my face, big guy, and he's like, hey, my sister has Tourette's. It hit me so much that someone was affected negatively about that joke. I stopped it. Black issues and white issues, to me, that's what comedies should be universal, you know? But when you're mean-spirited about it, one of my jokes I've done forever, they always say it, once you go black, you never go back. And any black, there's always a black guy in the back, like, man, he ain't lying, But then I don't know if that's true. I got together with a woman, she was half black, so I go back every once in a while. Now, I've done where it's an all-black crowd, and I wouldn't do that. And that's staying true to the craft. That's like saying, hey, I know it's not a mean-spirited thing. If I was a white guy and they said it, I'm like, you're damn right. I got it. So, but again, what's sensitive now? What don't you want to do? When you do a joke in their head, we've all been there. I don't care how many years you comedian a couple long enough where your crowd's like, ooh, and then you're like kind of regretful in a second.
Yeah.
You can't.
I call it the evil Knievel of jokes. You remember growing up with when you hit that throttle and you're on, it's like if you're just hoping there's enough room on that landing ramp. He's a hero growing up, nothing but it was wide world of sports. And your brothers would build a ramp and tell you to jump it. But I call it that. When we introduce a new joke, have you done that? And I know you have with your shows. It's brand new. And no one's ever heard it before. And that's the evil Knievel of jokes.
Oh, yeah. I told a new joke at my show at Bearded Lamb. It's kind of a darker joke. It worked, thankfully. And I remember I'm like, hopefully it's going to, it's going to...
And you do it 2-3 times. You go, now it's part of my repertoire.
And it's a seasonal joke. It has to do with Halloween, and it works. So,
I think it's Halloween now, so I think we were waiting to hear it now.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, if you want to hear it, so I talk about how last year around Halloween... there was this very sweet little boy that came trick-or-treating to my house, but he was diabetic. And he knocked on my door and said, trick-or-treat, smell my foot.
Now that works. That's good.
Yeah.
That is good.
It takes the crowd for a minute, and then like,
They'll be doing that this Saturday night at the
we'll
with
see,
the cameraman and I performing. That's really good.
Well, there's a British comic, and I'm blanking on his name, and I apologize. I know he's not watching, but who talks about
Hopefully not the Amish either.
doing more questionable material, and the second that you hesitate, or the second that you've got a handicap joke that you love, and you look out and front row there's a paraplegic.
Absolutely.
If you go, oh, I wouldn't do that joke, then you can never do that joke again.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Like
and
you-
that's lousy
that's-
because it's
that's
such
it.
a good hitter, you know. I did a corporate thing. I don't do a lot of corporate shows. I mean, I would.
Yeah.
And the blessing is, I go, I don't drive, fuck this, F that. But there's material of suggestion that you wouldn't do.
Yeah.
It was corporate. They hired me for a corporate show, and I do a Chinese joke, and the owner of the company, it was a Yosaki type of a thing, and he was right there. And, what do you think I did?
The joke.
The joke?
I evil Knievel that puppy
Yeah.
right there, man.
Yeah.
I never got that gig again.
because
But it was because and it was basically about adoption, Chinese adoption. I think it's good, and they had a little blonde haired, blue eyed kid holding his hand, and I'm like, yeah, that kid, the guy got mad, and I didn't mean no disrespect, staring. He's like, you got a problem, you ignorant. Like, I'm smart enough to know 2 wrongs don't make a white, and that's one of my big hits, I'll tell you. But it was self-conscious to do it.
Yeah.
I did it anyway, and I will tell you that for the next couple shows, it took me this whole nervousness, like I had just wrote it. So I know what
Yeah.
I'm saying, because we don't want to be hurtful to people.
Yeah.
Right.
Some guys that got, and that's them are the real good veterans, because they're like, hey, I'm doing it. I don't care. Stick to the script. Is what
Yeah.
they say. But yeah, there's some times where it's like, when is it sensitive now? The whole gender thing is sensitive. I've had people, how about this? When you get a venue or a gig and they go, okay, don't talk about this, don't do this. The recent, when I did a private show through the winter, they had said that, hey, no black and white stuff. So when you get hired as a comedian, I think I owe it to them. Like, who's in charge? Did a biker club. What's the rules here? Besides taking pictures of the clubhouse and that.
Yeah.
But they're like, well, don't talk about those old lady. Don't say anything about boob
Yeah.
job. Don't. And I says, hey, if you say something, you kind of want to know, don't
Yeah.
you?
Well, yeah,
You're
yeah.
mapping it out. Let
Yeah.
me know what you don't want, because it's your
Yeah,
gig.
you want to know beforehand.
I'm
at
in
least.
your house.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a show before where I've gone and they said everything is fine, and then you get there, don't say this. I'm like, well,
Yes.
this would have been great to know like a few weeks ago.
Right.
Oh,
when
how
I
about
was-
this? It's a clean show. Did you know that? Like, no. And I'm here dressed and ready to go on in 20
Oh,
minutes.
yeah, I did a
And
show-
that's not
Oh,
cool.
and there's 8-year-olds sitting up
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
Yeah.
kids in the front, the worst.
Yeah, it's like know what you can and can't do before you go on. So,
But if you're creative writing enough, you're doing that R-rated stuff, and the kids don't get it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yes.
yeah, that's when it's fun. And
Yeah.
if you're stuck, you could do it anyway.
absolutely.
I have
So,
no kids, by the way.
yeah. Well, anyway, this has been
awesome.
oh yeah, no, it's been great. So before we go ahead and get out of here, where can we see you in the coming months or
Well,
the
it's this
fall winter
Saturday.
season?
Well, we're
Special
looking at
day.
about Halloween-ish time.
Yeah, Halloween.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
Halloween
After
and
that.
beyond.
Well, on the October 6th, another fun comedian, Keith Learnhardt, is a cool guy,
Yeah.
very cool comedian, and he's just so fun, man. He's just so bubbly all the time.
Yeah.
He's taking me. We're going to go to Windsor. I'm going to do a spot with him
Nice.
in Canada. And then November, I got quite a few. As I'm saying, I'm booking the one show for Taylor Meadows Golf, which is a good show for people local, and that's Taylor, November 4th. But November 4th, I will be headlining in Flushing, Michigan.
Very nice.
It's a Flushing Moose out there. And November 18th, there is what's it called when you're getting off the drugs and drinking? The class.
The
you go
detox?
to?
AA?
Detox.
Detox?
Yeah,
I mean, that's-
the guy's all strung and out.
Yeah,
and you're trying to tell him
right,
a joke.
yeah.
Hey, man, let me help
Yeah.
you with that. Detox.
Detox,
joke.
well, yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway, that one is, that's a private gig, but that's it. I'm just starting to send my availables out, so, for any bookers, but
Yeah.
Are you-
getting in things in December and January, the last few years, again, my friend Justin is like, hey, how busy do you want to be? And sometimes your schedule, you look at like book. And I like having the shows listed, and I will put some on my on my Facebook. Soon.
And you've always
What's
been
your
you've always been
social
very
media?
good at promotion. So
You got to get it out there, right?
Yeah.
What's your social media? Are you Facebook?
It's
Instagram?
Facebook.
Okay.
I am actually upgrading my laughwithtom.com, and I'll have that ready. As a matter of fact, you probably edit that out because it ain't ready yet. Now I had some Amish guys designing it, so it's really not going to be ready.
Yeah.
Just
But,
keep refreshing.
Yeah,
It'll be ready
yeah.
one
And
day.
then my big show was last. I was honored to have Cam, Big Cam, emceed it for me, and I got that clip, so that's being edited so we can have
Nice.
another
Yeah.
10 minutes. And again, you're sending out to venues and hoping and suggesting with everybody else and just keeping busy.
Nice.
You know,
And
so Bearded Lamb, I think you had that coming up soon. I'm
Well,
calling him on the spot. He does
yeah.
not have me booked for that, but it's
yeah,
like,
so
what
I've
is
got.
it? But the winter time sometimes.
Oh yeah, I mean, and again, like I've got, I'm booking Bearded Lamb Brewing Company, the Rusted Crow in Dearborn Heights, Downey Brewing Company is coming back on November 18th. I will, you know what? I'll just say it now. I'm gonna have Greg Sharp is gonna be on that show. I have Grace, and Grace, I'm so sorry,
Gunn?
Not Grace Gunn. No, it's Grace from Chicago. It's
Oh.
like Baylor or Bass. I'm sorry, Grace. You're very sweet, but I forget how to say your last name. And then headlining it is going to be Mike Bobbitt. So that'll be a very, very fun show.
Yay!
Yeah, so I've got all my 3 shows that I'm doing monthly. It's going to be fantastic. And Elena, how about you? What is your schedule looking like?
Yeah, coming up, let's see, I'll be with the guys out at the post show in Troy, the VFW Hall, on the 10th. Then the 17th and 18th, I'm up in Traverse City at the Comedy Club, and then doing some East Side stuff in December. All of my socials at Gonzaleza, Gonzaleeza.
Thank you very much.
Gonzaleza.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.
And November 9th, I'm in Livonia as well. Livonia for the Italian Italy American Club.
There you go.
All right.
And that's my birthday.